Good evening. My name is Greg Garrett. I'm the Watershed Steward of the Mishnock River. I'm here to talk about Morley Field. I've been following this pretty closely, and I do not feel like the City Council in Pawtucket is doing a very good job of figuring out what's going on. I feel like you basically tried to steal a park through sleaze. That if the National Park Service, Rhode Island DEM, have a very specific process by which communities are supposed to apply in order to get rid of a park and change that. You haven't done any of that. You basically allowed the contractor, the developer, to destroy the park without ever having proceeded to apply to transfer the park. And I find that unbelievable that you would actually do that. You would actually try to transfer the park without having actually applied to the National Park Service and DEM. It is just absolutely unbelievable. I also don't think you're ever going to get permission to get rid of that park because the community has become outraged at this effort and finds that, and we have finally gotten the attention of DEM and the National Park Service, and they're starting to get like real upset about this. They don't feel like this is an honest effort by the Pawtucket City Council or the mayor. So that's really bad. And so what I think you really ought to do is, instead of thinking about how to get rid of this park, what you really have to do is start to figure out how you're going to restore Morley Field. You've already taken a whole summer away from the kids of that neighborhood. They weren't able to use it. If you're going to try to run out the string on all the legal processes, it's probably 3 years where the kids have no park. That is an outrage. You need to restore that park, and you need to do it fast. They should have, they've lost one summer. They shouldn't be losing another. So my answer, my final comment to you is, do the right thing. Get Morley Field opened by spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello. My name is Timothy Riker. And I live at, I'm a resident of District 4. I'm at 119 Oak Hill Avenue in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And I just had some comments about my concerns about that area that they're trying to sell to JK or JK Equities. I just don't feel that's a good area, that they're going to increase more traffic with trucks and delivery vans, and that's going to really conflict with what's already currently there at the R line bus. Plus, there's a lot of people living in that area, and it's near a park, and so it's really going to increase pollution. Those children playing there in the park, they're going to, suck in those fumes, all those exhausts and everything. And, health research shows that the impact for children who are playing and ingesting that, they will get heart issues, heart problems, lung problems. And so I just kind of feel that, we need to search for another location. You can't build there, but understand, too, that the city of Pawtucket still needs to continue to renovate that area, the Morley Field, and make sure that it's safe and it's a good area for the community to use that and let them play and congregate and have meetings there, whatever. But I just kind of feel like a lot of people, the comments that I'm getting, it's, important for everyone to listen and understand the impact of the future that it's going to have on it if it's in that area. If we continue, it could continue to worsen the quality of life. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to just be brief.
this is like very disheartening. It impacts a lot of people. A lot of what is being said is about like the children. And I think with that, they kind of always get kind of like the poop end of it. Um, like it's just like they're so like uncertain about their future with the climate and stuff like that. And this is like one of the few spaces that they can kind of like go out there, interact with nature and stuff like that. I'm only saying that because I've personally done it myself. I have a lot of memories on that field. It's just, I don't know. Like sometimes it makes me question, like what the municipal government is like actually interested in. You know, you guys are public servants. You guys are elected by people. You know, they put their trust in you to make decisions that are in their best interest. Yeah, remember that. Like they put their trust in you to make decisions in their best interest. And, you know, you have an overwhelming response of people just saying this isn't a good thing. You know, people rally against it. Like, this is why people give up on institutions like this, you know? Like, it's so disheartening. It's words can't even explain. I don't know why we have to come and do this over and over again. You know, I don't live in Pawtucket anymore, but I'm doing the same thing in Providence. Tax stabilization agreements, like, this is like very exhausting. So, you know, take it easy on us.
Good evening. My name is Richard Addis, 82-year-old man. OG, they call me, the old guy. I think I'm the oldest guy sitting around in this room. And what I want to tell you is, Pawtucket has always been a place where sports have always been a big part of raising children, because we know that through sports, a lot of young men have been saved. You know, you walk down the road when you're a young man, and all of a sudden you come to that little fork in the road, and this is the right way, and that's the wrong way. And I know because I dabbled in both of them, try to put one foot in this one and that, and you can't do that. You have to come a time in your life where you got to say what's right is right. Sports has been a big part of my life. Sports has been very big for all the men in my life, all the men in my family. The Darlington Braves, the Pawtucket Crusaders, the Eagles, and the Woodlawn Cowboys. I remember as a young boy, we used to have Novelty Park, and that was a federally funded program. But then the city decided that they were going to change Novelty Park. But what they did is they got stopped. They could only make some adjustments. So what they did is they sold the front part and made it a little business thing. But part of Novelty Park is on Johnson Street, like over here at Parasol Field, another one. There was money, federal money, to come in to build those basketball courts over there. Well, a couple of years later, because there were no more Pawtucket Crusaders and they didn't need the complete field, they decided they were going to make an adjustment. But then the parents over there decided they weren't going to let it happen. So they have still today, they got their basketball courts over there. They got 2 basketball courts. But the rest of the field is basically a field for football practice. It's not big enough to have a game there. I remember going to a meeting, this is going back a while, when the city came up with money to create an agency in Fairlawn and in Woodlawn for the youth to have their football program. The Darlington Braves go way back, way back, 55, 56. When they had the Woodlawn Cowboys, they saved a lot of kids. And I know a lot of those young boys who played sports there, who went on to LaSalle, some went to St. Ray's, some went here and there, and did well. You can't take that Woodlawn out of Woodlawn and say, well, we're going to put it somewhere else. You can't take that field and put it in Darlington. You can't put it in Fairlawn because those areas already have their fields. The people who live in Woodlawn are entitled to have their field in Woodlawn. As you know, I've been in sports all my life. I'm still doing it. At 82 years old, I'm affiliated with a high school in Providence. Still coaching football. And today, it is so difficult. Times have changed. The life that these young men and young girls are facing today, it is so easy to take that trip down the wrong side of the road. And when you do, quitting and not doing the right things and not having self-respect, team, all that stuff comes from organized sports. Some of these kids don't have mom and dads. Some might have a mom, some guys have a dad, but their parents are working 2 jobs or something like that. It's difficult. But people say, oh, the children are our future. They've been saying that for 100 years. We know the next generation, we are responsible for giving them every opportunity that we had. I don't want to go on too long, but I just say that if you decide to do stuff with Morley Field, remember the Woodlawn Cowboys moved out. And they're now the Mount Hope Cowboys in Providence. The kids in Woodlawn deserve the right to have a facility in their neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you very much.
Since the beginning, I oppose the sale of Morley. I oppose the selling of a parcel of land that makes up a portion of Morley Athletic Complex, the larger portion at that, lot 309. We all know 2 parcels of land make up Morley Field, and this original acquisition of both parcels were the purpose of constructing an athletic complex that was desperately needed in South Woodlawn community and is still desperately needed to this day. This was the original intent of the land gift provided to this community, which dates as far back from the beginning of the acquisition in the mid-70s. There are laws and regulations in place for a reason, to protect people of lesser stature in a community. And you're flying in the face of these laws and regulations to the detriment of your constituents. Ignorance to the existing laws and regulations protecting Morley is no excuse to move forward with this illegal sale of either parcel that is part of the Morley Athletic Complex, lot 291 and 309. Now that you know the law exists, time to follow the law. Over 5 acres, which were granted for the federal, state, and local grantors. These 5 acres were and are reserved for Morley Athletic Complex. That is the beginning of it, the end of it, and that is the way it should be. You are violating not only in the intent of the grantor and the US government when funding the project, but you are also going in violation of the law. Your purposeful neglect of Morley Field Complex by not maintaining the field that is required by law is also no excuse to go around these laws. We have seen by the actions of this administration that you are not persuaded by ethics, morality, nor law or regulation. This much is clear. The reasoning I have been giving for this type of behavior is this is how it has always been done. Well, that just doesn't cut it. It doesn't for me. I heard there was a win-win. I don't see a win-win. When we can create jobs by building up Morley Field of the athletic complex that it was intended to be, by maintaining it, we can build jobs, and taking away from that community that creates prevention, as Mr. Addison is so passionately spoken to. Those aren't win-wins when you're taking away that field. That's a lose for that community, especially the larger lot. We know they come together. So, you've indicated in your resolution, there's a purchase and sale agreement proposed. And I have questions, such as this new one: what is the price? What is the appraisal that wasn't shared? What is the proposed closing date on these 3 acres? Also, from the buyer's standpoint, what are the contingencies prior to the buyer's obligations, before the buyer obligations become invested? For example, title, wetlands, environmental, etc. And I would like a copy of that as a constituent, as a community member, to know these things when these types of deals are being made. That's going to take away a piece of land that was intended for this community many years ago and was never fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Steward. I live at 41 Pat Street in Pawtucket. I just went through the primary election, and I've been thinking a lot about the job of representative as a representative elect of the 59th House District. And the question I've been thinking a lot about these days is, who do we work for? Who are we supposed to work for? I think I know who we're supposed to work for. We're supposed to work for the people and for our constituents. And that's true for every representative, no matter where you are in the system. And I am very disappointed, distressed after attending these meetings for the better part of this summer to now, to see the extent to which people have shown up and expressed their opposition to the sale of Morley Field in whole or in part, and that it's still moving forward, right? That it's still pressing forward. If it can't be the whole park, then it'll be part of the park. After folks have said they don't want that, after even people in Ward 4 have said, you know what, we've got enough park and green space. Don't move a park from Woodlawn into Oak Hill. So, and through all of this, we know that Morley Field has been under-resourced, that it's been under-maintained, and that whatever public process existed for sharing the plans for Morley Field were insufficient, because you've had people here every week since the summer saying, what? What do you mean you're going to do that? We don't want that. So it also seems that there's a legitimacy problem as well for the city council and pressing forward with these plans, and for the city. So in conclusion, I just hope that we remember that we work for the people, and that we're accountable to the people, to the voters, and to our constituents. And, you know, if we decide to do things that they don't want. It's our responsibility to get in front of them and actually account and explain ourselves. So I hope these plans don't move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to recap what everyone else has been saying for the last few months, and you guys have heard it all. What you haven't heard is not one person in favor of this, meaning the people. It's pretty obvious that, you know, most of the council, not all, are taking direction from the second floor. That's obvious. We've always known that. Bianca, she's not here today, no, unfortunately. She's here for a paycheck. So she's gonna fight whatever the community says. She doesn't care about the community. She's gets paid to do what the mayor tells her to do. I was gonna have you guys raise your hands like I often do when I want to get an answer without you guys answering me, as to which one you guys were from Woodlawn, but I'll just answer that for everyone, right? The two minorities are from Woodlawn. So yeah, I go there all the time. Of course you guys don't care. Why would you? You're not from Woodlawn. Mr. Addison just broke it down for you. Every team in every section of the city. No one ever cares about Woodlawn. I don't blame you guys. You got what you need in your community. Your kids got what they need in their community. So why would you care about Woodlawn? You know, it's always about business when it comes to that, right? When it comes to Woodlawn, it's always business. What's going to make the money? Another thing I don't understand, you guys contradict yourselves. Somebody contradicts themselves and it comes through you guys. How do you have Morley Field shut down? Because it's contaminated. But you're selling it. Then I heard earlier that whatever's left over will be fixed. Why isn't it being fixed now? Why is it even closed down? Is it contaminated though? I think you guys know that it wasn't the state or the city that said it's contaminated. It's the people that want to buy it. Of course, they're going to say it's contaminated, right? You guys are not doing your homework. You're really not. And I know you hate when I point that out, but I'm going to keep pointing it out. You're not doing your homework. You're not listening to the people. You know what pisses me off the most is when I come here, and I've been coming here for years, you guys know. But what pisses me off the most is when I hear other people coming down here, defending the community, thinking they're doing something right. They're taking time out of their day. They're coming down here to come talk to the council. No, you guys are not listening. It's in one ear and out the other. It's always been that way. It's not the first time you're hearing it from me. You're not surprised. You guys do not listen. You look. Big difference. And that's what really, really, really breaks my heart for some of these people. They're calling on the phone. They're coming down here. Some of them are pouring their heart out. In the past, I've seen people cry to you guys. It doesn't matter. You're giving them the same look you're giving me right now. You'll know I'm right. Some of you are looking at me pissed off that I'm saying it out loud. I'm going to say it out loud. You guys already know what you're going to do. Second floor tells you what you're going to do. Every single time Bianca was in this room, it was a reminder to the rest of you what the mayor wants, and you're going to do it. Why would she give Clovis dirty looks? I could say it's racial because that's how I see it. But it's because he's messing with her paycheck. She needs to get this sale done. How dare you mess with my paycheck? And some of you jumped on Clovis for it too. But he's right. People hear this thing about illegal. Aren't you guys, no one actually says it out loud that the sale is illegal, except for Clovis. And when he says it, it's not exactly illegal. It's illegal. Go ahead, sell it. I know you guys already had a vote earlier. Sell it. And if there's a class action lawsuit against this city for that, I'll be the first name on it.
Thank you.
So Bryce Dubois, 157 Cypress Street in Providence, Rhode Island. So I've come before you previously to talk to you about Morley Field, and I'm opposed to the sale of Morley Field. I'm a professor of environmental studies at Holy Cross. I study these issues for my job, for my career, and I recognize this as a clear example of environmental racism. And I'm particularly concerned about the harms that are being that are occurring against the young people of Woodlawn by the removal of the park and by the continued lack of access to the park. You're continuing to create harm against the young people in Woodlawn because of their lack of access to the park. So I first want to sort of reiterate those points and to sort of make sure that you all are thinking about the way in which you're reproducing harm in the communities of Pawtucket. So you're talking about economic development, but yet you're also, on the other hand, engaging in harmful acts towards young people. So that's how I see this as a professor of these sorts of issues. But I also want to speak to the very specifics of the laws that you're bound by. So on the one hand, the site that you're preparing to sell, that you're looking to trade, is under the auspices of the National Park Service and then Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management because of the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Currently, your park is not being maintained. So currently, from my perspective, you're already in violation, the city's already in violation of the requirements of that park, of the Land and Water Conservation Fund, because essentially the park is an obsolete facility because of your lack of ability to maintain that facility. And failure to do so is a violation of that Land and Water Conservation Fund requirement. In order to be in good standing with National Park Service and Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, the city would have needed to go in front of and present information to the National Park Service to request a change in the state of that park, so change in use. So this is a significant change in use because it's not actively being used currently. So the city is already in violation of that Land and Water Conservation Fund requirement. Second, the city of Pawtucket has a comprehensive plan, right? And so one of the key things that you all are involved with is supporting the city of Pawtucket to be a progressive, modern city, correct? And you see your neighbor Providence engaging in a set of green infrastructure interventions, engaged in developing modern approaches to comprehensive plans. And you also in Pawtucket have the same approach. Your comprehensive plan names this sort of good environmental planning, maintaining high quality parks, maintaining high quality green spaces, and actually building on that, improving mobility, improving access to green space. So you're actually proposing to vote on something that would remove and go directly against your own Pawtucket comprehensive plan. So that's important for you to acknowledge. And also, it's important to acknowledge that this trade, right, you're not creating new land. Riverside Cemetery parcel already exists as green space, right? So it's not that you're actually building new green space. So you're just essentially removing one green space from your city. You know, so if you think about what your comprehensive plan is trying to do, it's trying to support economic development and high quality of life and improve quality of life for Pawtucket, especially Woodlawn, but for all of Pawtucket. So you're going against that by voting yes to the sale of this parcel of Morley Field. And then, but my last point is that the state around Department of Environmental Management, because of federal regulations, has to prepare an Ocean State Outdoors Comprehensive Plan. So that's a Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management document. And in that document, equity is named as a primary plan for action. And that states that access to parks is a matter of equity and justice as well as health. And there, it lays out a number of things, but one of the things, Part G in Policy 2.1 says that they prohibit the loss of recreation and open space system land through conversion to alternate uses, and they prohibit the conversion of land that has been dedicated to recreation and open space to alternate uses. So by voting yes to sell this parcel, you're going against Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, and they are the ones that are going to have to approve this. And so you're very likely not going to receive their approval of the sale of this parcel. So you're going directly against this comprehensive plan that they've also had to prepare for the state. Okay, and then lastly, just to add to the voices of people that have presented to you all, Save the Bay shared with me a statement. Save the Bay said that they support the protection and expansion of open space and public access to our waterways, especially in the urbanized areas of the Bay watershed. And they say Morley Field is such a place. So they're joining in the cacophony of community members, environmental organizations, social equity organizations, and many, many other organizations that are urging you to not sell any part of Morley Field and to maintain it and enhance it for all Woodlawn and all of Pawtucket. So that's, yeah, my primary point. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Bryce.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Glenn Dufault. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Pawtucket. I'm a homeowner, a parent of 10-year-old twins, one of which is sitting right there, and I am a taxpayer. A couple of issues as of late have really been bothering me, as well as hundreds of other residents of this city. In the blatant disregard by this administration and by certain members of this council to just take it upon themselves to do what they want, regardless of what the citizens of Pawtucket are voicing concern about. Please keep in mind that these positions you hold come from us, the citizens, and can be taken away by us, the citizens. First, I'd like to bring up Morley Field and my opposition against the selling of any of that complex. For the life of me, I can't understand how anyone in the city would want to take anything away from our youth, yet alone when maintained a beautiful sports complex and with proper grants could be turned into a state-of-the-art complex. Morley Field was and is a staple of the Woodlawn community ever since I was a kid. My mom lived on Rand Street and McGill Street. For me, going back to the mid-'80s, longer for people older than me, like the gentleman right there. I remember the Woodlawn Cowboys as well, older than me. Morley Field is in a convenient location and walkable for the citizens of Woodlawn, especially for parents with young children and can't afford a vehicle. It's bad enough now that children have way less resources available to them now than say when we were growing up. I'm hearing that contamination is being brought up as for reasons of sale. So since the early 70s, right up to, I believe, fall of 2019, when Oakwood Raiders youth football practiced at Morley Field, it was never an issue, but now it is because a new company wanting the land says it is. Really? I really hope that for the councilors that are all for selling would reconsider what they're doing. And I have one more part, secondly. So secondly, purchase of land on Pleasant Street as replacement for Morley Field. The city charter clearly states in chapter 76, real property transaction 76-2, appraisal and lease agreement required. The city council shall not approve the purchase or sale of any parcel or parcels of real property until such time as said has secured a valid and timely appraisal from a qualified, duly licensed real estate professional for each parcel of property being considered for purchase or sale. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but it sounds pretty to the point to me. I'm pretty sure that this was put in place to protect the resident taxpayers of Pawtucket from price gouging. But yeah, I had the opportunity last council meeting to witness 6 elected council members completely disregard this, even though they were sworn to uphold the charter when elected. I'm pretty sure there is not a line of investors and developers dying to scoop up this property for $1.8 million that they can't do nothing with except pay taxes on.
Thank you very much.
Well, you know,
I'm sorry.
now, there's one other thing. Now, I heard that, how did this property committee approve to sell the property when that meeting last month is null and void with a 6-3 vote because you didn't even follow the charter? So they're supposed to have a replacement field. How did they vote when they don't even have a replacement field when the 6-3 vote is null and void according to the charter?
Excellent point, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. My name is Forrest Snyder. I work at 250 Eston Avenue, right down the street from Morley Field. I live in Providence. I'm here today to oppose the sale of any portion of Morley Field. There is no ambiguity about what the Rhode Island state law says regarding the sale of recreational land gifted to a municipality. I quote, "Nothing shall be construed to authorize the sale, lease, or conveyance of lands acquired by a gift." Furthermore, the City of Pawtucket's comprehensive plan, adopted by the City Council in 2017, in effect today, and which the City Council of Pawtucket is legally and morally obligated to uphold, states in no uncertain terms that Morley Field is being neglected and calls for its rehabilitation. That the goal, and I quote, is to seek sites for future active and passive recreational activities which help Pawtucket to provide a balanced geographic distribution of resources. The objective being, and I quote again, provide all residents with the access to safe recreational opportunities within a half mile of their homes to promote physical activity. And to take action, quote, to upgrade and improve recreational resources at Morley Field. All of that is in the City of Pawtucket's comprehensive plan, which is active today. Finally, the state of Rhode Island's outdoor recreation master plan, commonly referred to as the Ocean State Outdoors, provides the framework for which lands using federal funds must abide. It was adopted in 2019 and is in effect today. It states, access to parks is a matter of equity and justice as well as health. A key part of ensuring equitable access to outdoor recreation resources is to acknowledge that some communities are traditionally underrepresented. A goal is to, and I quote, prohibit the conversion of land that has been dedicated to recreation and open space to alternative uses. Knowing all this, as you do as city councilors, the previous actions of those of you on this council supporting the sale of Morley Field reeks of cronyism at best and racism at worst. Time and time again, the council has proceeded to ignore city ordinance, state law, and most importantly, the clear desires of the people of District 5. I can only reach one conclusion. Those supporting the sale of Morley Field are morally bankrupt and have only their self-interests in mind. The mayor's office, supported by this council president, spins the latest proposal to sell a portion of Morley Field as a compromise. Nothing could be farther from the truth. If this city council, the city council president, and the mayor are acting in good faith, supporting the clear and unambiguous wishes of the people, they must allow the people of District 5 and their council representative, Clovis Gregor, to lead in solving issues surrounding Morley Field and not act to marginalize them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is John Santos from 155 Warren Avenue. I was born and raised in Pawtucket. As a youth, I used that field almost religiously every day. That field, and also there was a New Lab playground that no longer exists. Where did the kids go? You're gonna send them down a mile. They have to cross Main Street, West Ave, East Ave, to go to Oak Hill to use the field. I lived a stone throw away from the field. Like I said, we use it all the time. I play for the Woodlawn Cowboys. And he's right. It changed my life. It changed my life. And I don't want to call anybody out, but Mike, ask your wife about the New Lab playground. Ask her how much she used that and what it did for her. That was our meeting place. Now you're gonna base it, and the kids who use that, they're not 18 years old, 19, they're all 10, 11. When I was younger, we used to cross 95 to go use the Vets Ave pool because that was the only pool we had. Do you want your kids crossing 95, crossing the Amtrak railroad tracks? Because that's what we did. Because why? We had to get to the pool at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, because we're city kids, and that's what city kids do. We find a way. But don't make these kids do what we had to do. It's not right. It's not right. That field was, when it was built, it was impeccable. It was a beautiful field. Had beautiful stadium seating. It was beautiful. And then with times, with money, I'm no politician. I don't know politics. I'm not here, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've always trusted my government. I trusted my government so much, I spent 4 years in the military with the 10th Mountain Division because I trusted my government. I'm trusting my government again. You guys, come on, do the right thing for the children, not for the adults, for the children. If you're from this area, then you know they need that field. If you're not from this area, you know your kids needed your field. Don't take it away from these children. It's important. It's important. That's what I'm asking. And I want to say one thing, because I've known Missy, who was DeRosa, for a little bit here. She's worked my organization because I brought football back to that Morley Field about 12 years ago. We brought it back because Woodlawn Cowboys left and went to Addis in Providence. We felt like the kids needed something there. I don't have kids. My kids are all grown. I didn't do it for my kids. I didn't do it because I want my kids to play quarterback. I brought it back there for these kids because these kids needed a place to represent their own community, to be able to go to school with their own jerseys and say, I played for Woodlawn, or we call it Oak Hill, because we included the Oakwood. We included the Woodlawn area and the Oak Hill area. But when she leaves, the person in her place, is she going to be as passionate, or he going to be as passionate as she, because she knows this area. Clovis came back. Is he gonna, in his replacement, is he gonna know this area? You don't know this area? Trust the people who do. Trust your constituents who do. Ask them what they need, because I'm pretty sure when it's your community, when it's your area, they're gonna ask you too. Let's work together. This is what government is supposed to be for, working together for the people. I'm just telling you guys, work together for the children, not for the people, for the children. Because you're gonna make them cross 3 major roads a mile away from where Morley is right now to go use a green space they already got. And I'll tell you one thing too, just one more thing. I used that trail for 10 years. If there was toxic waste on it, then I'm exposed to some big time toxic waste because I stayed there a lot of times. So think about that, and I'm an adult. All I'm saying is, guys, come on, please. Let's do the right thing for the community, because we need it. And let's do the right thing for the children, because they definitely need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny. Well said.